Hi, I'm Kristen.
Hi, I'm Michelle.
We're readers and writers.
We're sci-fi and fantasy fans, and this is
The best of all worlds. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. Today, I'm very excited because we're going to be talking about one of my new favorite books of all time. I finally convinced Michelle to read it, and if you've been following along anything on Instagram or any of our previous podcasts, I've already talked about it. But it is Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wong, and it is just so good. It's so good. Today, we're here to talk about it. We'll start out with completely non-spoilery thoughts so we can convince you why you should read this too and join us. We need to talk about it. There's so much to unpack here. And then you can come jump into spoilery thoughts if you've read it or you aren't going to read it. Sad, you should, but that's okay. That's okay. We will accept you anyway. So
it's her life mission, I think, to get everyone in the world to read this book.
Listen, when I get into a book, I get really into it.
And I'm right there with you. I am right there with you. So I feel you on that. You know, before we get too far, I think I should tell you what I rated it.
Oh, yes. Well, you already know I rated it 5 stars if you've watched our best reads of the mid-year so far.
Well, I think you're going to be sad to know that I rated it 1 star.
I don't believe you. It's impossible.
No, actually, it may or may not have the highest rating of any book that I've read so far this year.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a 9.6 on my scale, which goes up to 10. So, yeah, it's a pretty good book. It's competing with The Great Hunt, so...
Ooh, 2 excellent books.
Oh my, I'm having such a great reading year to have 4 5-star books already, and it's only the middle of July. I am happy about this.
Yes, I gotta get on it because I've only got 3 so far. I gotta keep reading.
Yes, read more good books.
But anyway, diving into our non-spoilery section, I want to give a quick summary of what this book's about if you haven't heard me talking about it before. Basically, it is about the first female high mage of this domed city that runs on magic. She teams up with this janitor who's an immigrant from the outside, which is kind of wilderness looked down upon. There's a blight going on out there. Things are not good outside the city. And because of it, the immigrants who are coming in are, looked down upon. And so they have to team up, both being kind of the underdogs in the society that does not value either of them. They team up to work on this project regarding this magic and uncover some pretty dark stuff in the process. And I don't want to say any spoilers, but it is dark. It is the content warning. If you don't like things that get really, really dark, this might not be for you, but I will give the caveat that there is hope in the ending. It's not just like a completely 100% depressing ending. There is a note of hope in the end. So if that gets you to pick it up,
there definitely is.
Pick it up. Please pick it up.
Yes. There's so much to talk about with this book. So I don't even think we're going to be able to compress it all into this one episode. So we're going to do our best to keep it on topic and to keep it focused, but there's so much more than we'll be able to talk about just today. So if you have any thoughts at all, please let's discuss this, because the themes alone, we could talk for days about the themes in this book. So
yes,
I'm excited.
Open discussion in the comments. If you've read it, please come talk to us about it, or if you have questions about it, ask us questions and we will answer it. We want to talk about this book.
And at some point, we will have to get into spoilers, because I do want to talk about the darkness in this book, and that is not revealed until much later into the story, so we will make sure there's clear spoiler warnings when we get to that point. But we'll stay spoiler-free for the first little little like half, maybe.
Yeah, I think we can manage that. Michelle, what would you say are some of your favorite things about this book?
Yeah, I would say the writing style was probably the first thing that stood out to me as being very good. She does this thing where she can manipulate language in a way that makes it very beautiful without going so far as to become purple. Like the prose is very specific and beautiful without being over the top, which I found to be a really like inspiring balance to have found, because I know I will never write anything as beautiful as what she's written. So it's nice to see that, and maybe it can help me as a writer a little bit be a little more like pretty with the way I say things and a little less Sanderson like, where it's just like you get what you get.
Yeah.
So her writing was just phenomenal. That's probably like the number one thing that I noticed and one of my favorite parts about this book.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like I really enjoy that type of a writing style where it's like
Mm-hmm.
poetic and beautifully said without
Yeah.
being flowery. Like I love
Yes.
something that is beautiful in its simplicity, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I only get that every once in a while in my writing. Most of the time my writing's pretty straightforward, and then I get like
Yeah.
really philosophical for like a chapter, and then it turns into that, and then it's just back to like straightforward and characters are bantering, and this
Yeah.
is, this is normal.
As
But
they should. That's the best thing to read is bantering
listen,
characters.
I love banter, and there's a little bit of banter in this too.
Oh, absolutely.
Not like as much funny haha banter, but very much like two
No.
characters like who aren't afraid to give each other some crap.
Yeah, and that's probably my second favorite part about this book was their openness with their communication and just the pure honesty that they approached each other with at a certain point. It wasn't fully like that at the beginning because there was definitely like a really major power differential, but once they started to get to know each other and get more comfortable with each other, they became incredibly honest with each other, and it's really really refreshing to see two characters just say what they mean.
Hmm. Yeah, and I appreciated like they weren't afraid to disagree. They disagreed
Mm-hmm.
most of the book, honestly.
Yes,
They
exactly.
came from two very different perspectives, and the book did not shy away from that. It's like, nope,
Mm-hmm.
they need to very slowly and very painfully find common ground, because it's not going to be easy just based on the life circumstances they both come from. And they're both
Yeah.
very strong personalities, which
Oh,
I
definitely.
appreciate in a character. Like I like a good strong personality. Like may not be for everyone, but it is for me.
Yeah, that's another strength is that they're very realistic feeling people who have very realistic flaws that don't ever really feel like a stereotype or over the top. They feel very believable, the flaws that each character has. Like Tomo has plenty of his own flaws, and he's self aware of some of them, which I appreciate because these characters are older. They're, I mean, I would imagine 30s, like late 20s, early 30s at least, which creates a level of emotional maturity, at least from Tomo. I wouldn't say that Siona has the most emotional maturity until later, but
And I think part of that's a personality thing
it
too.
is,
Like I
yeah.
think it's not that Siona's not capable of emotional maturity. It's just that she's the type of personality that I feel like men get away with a lot more than women
Oh,
do.
for sure.
If
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
absolutely.
Like I
Yeah,
am really interested in this one specific thing, and I'm very driven toward this one specific thing, and I'm very
yes,
very smart and not very socially capable, and
yes.
that's Siona, and I she definitely struggles because of it, but I also find it more than a little bit relatable.
Yeah. No, she's a pretty good. I mean, if you're into MBTI, I feel like she's a pretty good INTJ character. Like, let me get to this end goal as quickly as I can. Let me show everyone else like how good I am and how clever I am. I don't know, just
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm over here. I'm like the INFJ. So I'm like, I admire your drive and your ambition and
yes.
your focus, but my gosh, learn some empathy.
Yeah, like, how do you do this? How do you go about life without worrying if people are going to be mad if you
I
say that?
know. I don't how.
I wish I could be this way.
I both wish I can be that way, and I'm glad I'm not that way because I would feel
Yes.
really terrible.
No, apparently you wouldn't. You wouldn't unless
Oh,
in a
that's
very
true.
specific situation. But are there any other things that you wanted to point out that you really liked?
Yeah, mentioning already the writing style is really good. The characters are really good. I want to call out, we'll get deeper into it in the spoiler section, but just
Mm-hmm.
the magic and world building of this book was
Mm-hmm.
just fascinating. It was like a little bit of like a steampunk vibe, but still like very much fantasy. You've got this magic system that's controlled by like magical typewriters, and you've got this
Yes.
whole mystery around, the city is protected from this blight that's outside. What's going on with all of this? Like, how did all of this come to be? And it's just there's so much interesting stuff going on with the world that
Absolutely.
is really hard to describe without starting to get into any spoilers, but it's so good. It's really, if you like a good, fascinating magic system, this was a really cool magic system. Like, I would describe
Absolutely.
it as akin to like magical computer programming, and I think that's so cool.
Yes. It's a more hard magic system where the rules are very clearly defined, and I appreciate that in a magic system. And then with the combination of the steampunk elements, that makes it feel more sci fi, even though it isn't really sci fi. And so that brings in readers like me who much prefer a sci fi. So it kind of scratched an itch that I didn't know I had.
And it brings in readers like me who are like fantasy sci-fi borderline readers, where I like books
Mm-hmm.
that have a blend of both. So
Yes.
I'm here for it.
Yes, quite enjoyable. Anything else, or are we ready to talk about the less good things?
I'd say if you enjoy stories that like have a good blend of like sci-fi fantasy to them,
Mm-hmm.
this would probably be a good book for you. If you like books that are definitely explore some themes of like moral ambiguity, like different
Mm-hmm.
perspectives, there's some, I don't want to spoil the tropes that are in here, but it has some of my favorite tropes. They're so good. If you like the tropes that I like, based on our tropes video, I think you'll like this. And then finally, I think just anyone who enjoys dark academia in general as a
Yep.
genre, this is very much like a dark academia story. So if you've enjoyed other books within that genre before, even if they're not completely in the fantasy realm, I think you'd still like this because it has that vibe.
Yeah, I actually think now that you say that, the main character feels very similar to the main character from Catabasis. So if you like Catabasis, which I enjoyed, I felt like it had some pacing stuff going on, but as a whole, that character, the main character from Catabasis, is very similar to the main character for Blood Over Brighthaven, like personality wise and like their behaviors and stuff. They're very similar.
Yes. And I find Blood Over Brighthaven to be also very similar to Babel, which is also by the same
Mm,
author as
that would make
Catabasis.
sense.
But I like Blood Over Brighthaven so much better than Babel. And we're not going to get into it, but I think thematically and like plot wise, Blood Over Brighthaven landed much better for me.
Yeah. I would still say if you like those books, you would probably like this book a lot. Like just take those books and elevate the pacing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are some minimal complaints I have. They're few and far between, but they do align with what I see like when I was looking for the 1-star reviews. I saw some feedback that does align with some of the things that were less enjoyable to me. And I love an anti hero or antagonist as a main point of view. I do. But there were times when her selfishness as a character, Siona, she made me so mad. Like, genuinely, I was like, I really dislike you right now.
Yeah, that's, I mean, completely fair. If you do not like a character who is, morally gray and flawed and has a very strong personality, you probably won't like
Yeah.
Siona. I will put that out there. I personally like all those things. I like to have characters who aren't perfect and who have to learn and grow and, dare I say, redeem themselves a little bit. But yeah.
I mean, still, I rated the character work really, really high. I just found that one aspect of her personality a little annoying at certain moments. I wanted to, like, go through the book and shake her and be like, think about literally anyone else outside of yourself, please. And then the only other thing that I didn't like, and I understood why it was there, but I can see how people might think that the themes are heavy handed because in this scene, I would say that they were. And there is a scene with an alchemist, and that's as much as I'll say in terms of giving away spoilers. But in the alchemist scene, I feel like the themes were very heavy handed to the point of that character being a caricature as opposed to a genuine person that was part of this world.
It's definitely true. I think that was the most heavy-handed of the
Mm-hmm.
scenes. I don't know. I being like the target audience for someone who would be very horrified by being in that situation personally,
Yeah.
I could handle it because I'm like, I listen, I know this is an over exaggeration, but I'm still emotionally invested because this is still horrifying. So
Oh, absolutely. No, the horrifying nature of what was happening with that scene absolutely remained. I'm like grasping at straws here for the negatives of this book. So the fact that my negative is that one of the characters in one of the scenes was a little bit of a caricature. I mean, come on, like am I really making a complaint about the book?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm as you're saying this, I'm like looking through my review that I wrote, and I literally said, I don't think I can come up with anything I didn't like, just stuff that was great instead of amazing. So that's how I felt about
Exactly.
this book. But yeah, I have nothing else to add to the negatives other than this. Yeah, this won't be for you if you don't like characters who
Yeah.
are complicated.
Yeah. They are complicated and they have their flaws. They
Yeah.
have lots of flaws, but I love that. That's probably my
Mhm.
favorite part. Even if she annoyed me, like I still loved her as a character.
I promise
I
you,
was impressed.
the characters will grow. Both
Oh yeah.
Siona and Tom will grow throughout the story. So
They will change, which I appreciate. Like the events do affect them and have a lasting impact on their behaviors. I've mentioned before, like that's something that's really, really important to me in a story, and I feel like this book did the character arcs really well for the most
yes,
part.
definitely agree.
So I guess that's a good segue since we're talking about character. Who is your favorite character?
Well, yeah, but I already kind of mentioned it, but it's definitely Siona.
I
I
can see that. I can see that.
she was like the perfect blend of relatable and completely frustrating to me. So it
Mm.
was like I can see a lot of myself in her while also being completely put off by some of her behaviors. So it's like it was really, that is a perfect combination to get me really invested in a character. Like
Mm.
I can see the part of you that I recognize, and I can also see the part of you that I want nothing to do with. Please improve. I am invested in your improvement.
Yeah. I really thought she was a well done character, and without spoiling anything, I think her ending was very fitting for everything that was built up throughout the story. But she was not my favorite character because one character kind of shone a little brighter. I think for me, I didn't relate to Siona as much because I've never had as much of a obsessive personality. I think I related to the being underestimated because I'm female, but her personality was just very different from my own.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but the character that I liked is probably because I related more to him, even though our personalities are not the same at all. I don't mean to imply that, but I related more to him and his point of view, and that was Tommel, who is kind of like the underclass character who, more or less, really is only underclass because of reasons that we will get into when we get to the spoiler section. Dang it, I can't talk about anything. But what I like about him is that he's very smart and humble and very thoughtful. Like, he cares a lot. Even though he makes bad decisions sometimes, he still does so wanting to do better and wanting to be a better person. There's this constant drive from him, I feel like, to be a better person that Siona doesn't necessarily have. He almost brings that out in her because her natural inclination is ambition and obsession with figuring these things out. Whereas for him, he's much more empathetic overall.
Yeah. No, and I think that is definitely like they're a good contrast in that way. Also at the same time, I feel like Tomo has some blind spots in empathy too,
Oh, for
where
sure.
he oftentimes he struggles to see when Siona kind of has a point from her point of view. Like, she does not always have a point from her point of view, but there are certain things that, like, it's fair that she has been mistreated as a woman. Just because he's been mistreated as being Quen does not negate the fact that she's been mistreated too. So it's like, this is not a competition, and one does not cancel the other out. Like, you are both being mistreated by this system.
Yeah, they're absolutely both victims of the system who choose not to be victims, which I like. I like when people stand up for their right.
Yes, make things better. We want improvement.
Yes. Well, I think now we can start getting into the next section, but I think at this point I cannot speak about what we need to talk about next without getting into spoilers. So this is your warning. Please, if you don't want spoilers, walk
spoiler
away.
Warning,
Come
because
back.
there's a very large, very big spoilers coming up.
Yeah, we're going to reveal, like, the big reveal. We're going to talk about that and how that came about. So please, like, if you want to have the reveal feel like a genuine reveal, walk away. Come back after you've seen it. Or after you've read the book. Yeah, so we've given you a warning. If you're still here, proceed at your own risk. So let's talk about the world building, because I think it's hard to really break it down to one specific world building element. I think there's a lot within the world building that's really fascinating, and I think specifically with the magic system. Non-spoiler, I guess. The typewriter is just cool. You kind of mentioned before the fact that it's like coding but magic, and I also enjoy that, which coding is all about logic, right? It's like these strings of logic and these rules create these outcomes, and throughout the story, she ends up figuring out, thanks to Tomo, that there's a way to actually see where the power is being siphoned from as clearly as you could see through a pane of glass. And normally it's really cloudy and impossible to see. And you think maybe that's just because people aren't good enough at doing the mapping.
Psych. Nope, it's so you can't see the genocide
It's
going
intentional.
on.
It's intentional. I started getting the vibes that was the case when they were starting to talk about the past and about Leonid, I think, is one of the first rulers of this Terra place, or Tehran. I kept thinking of Tehran, Iran, so I kept, every time I read,
different, yeah,
it's a different Tehran, I promise, even though it's pronounced the same. But the magic system being related to the big reveal around how it was created by this guy who stole the power from these people that are being oppressed, called it his God-given right, cut them off from it, and then started killing them to fuel his machine of power. Like, that is some messed up world building, if you ask me. And I can see now, after we like had that one star review that was like, this is Temu FMA, I can see where that connection is made.
Yep. Very much stealing people's life force to give yourself power vibes.
Yes, remember that blight we mentioned earlier? I thought that was super beautiful foreshadowing. I kind of had a inkling that there was something connected there, from the start. Like, why would you make such a big deal of this blight? that's leading into the city. I mean, obviously that was Tommel coming into the city, so it was fun to kind of see what he went through in order to get, well, fun. I use very loosely. It's very dark what he goes
Yeah.
through.
That is quite the opening. Yeah, I have to give props to the opening of this book. I was like,
talk about a 10 out of 10 hook.
excuse me. Okay, I'm invested now.
Yeah, if you want a hook that's gonna get me, you kill people, and that is definitely what happens in that hook. And then to make the magic system that, and yeah, the way that it relates to FMA is the Philosopher's Stone and the power siphoning of this world function in a similar way. They function in a very similar way. The one's a little more graphic, and to be called Temu is kind of crazy, given how much more graphic and horrifying it is in Blood
Although,
Over Brighthaven.
technically, Full Metal Alchemist is more graphic because it has pictures.
That's a good point. But
anyway, back to the point. Yeah, I think that's a really good comparison. These are two of my favorite like works of literature of all time. So, there's a reason that I like both of them, and they touch on a lot of very similar themes about, like the cost of power and systems that are unjust and corrupt, and what do we do to stand up against them, and how do we have to confront our own complicity in those systems. As I was mentioning earlier in the non-spoiler part where I almost said the trope, I'm like, I shouldn't say this trope. The "are we the baddies" trope is so strong in this book. It's
that is the core theme of this book, I would say, is "Are we the baddies?" Yes, you are.
Yeah, I love that trope. I can't help it. So like anytime it comes up, the moment I'm like, that's what this book is about. Yes, I am here for this. Oh no, this is going to be devastating. And yeah, I think I figured it out like pretty early on, like probably earlier than I was supposed to. It was like the moment that like Tommel mentioned something about like, oh, I'm good at this because I know hunting. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Oh no. And like I clocked it like pretty early, and I went, oh, like it didn't ruin my enjoyment at all that I figured out the twist so early, because it just turned into like mounting dread instead of like, getting hit at once. Instead of, it was more like watching like a freight train barreling toward me, and I knew I couldn't step out of the way.
It's like you're in a horror movie and you're waiting for the jump scare. That's what it felt like. Like, I also figured it out a little bit before it was revealed. I can't remember the exact scene, but I had an inkling that's maybe because I had the Temu FMA comparison before going into this might have made me more sensitive to the clues leading up to it, but there's a very strong possibility of that. But I felt like it was like waiting for the jump scare, like you're huddled and your eyes are being covered by your hands, and you're just waiting for the moment that she's gonna figure it out, and it's not gonna go well for her. She's gonna have trouble with that, and then it all happens. And I feel like her response was very appropriate for what she found out.
Yeah, like I completely agree. Like did she react very poorly? Yes. Was that valid to find out that the thing that you love most in the world and have been completely dedicated to is actually like pure evil? Yeah, that you would fall apart if you learned that. So
the way that her mentor tried to gaslight her into thinking that it was a curse, no. Like, sir, no. You are not going to play with our intelligence right now and try to tell us that's a curse. Like, she knows exactly what she did.
Yeah.
And she wanted to believe him so much.
It's like, I had bad vibes from him from the start, but it's like,
interesting.
You didn't? Interesting. Mm-mm. No, I was like, I don't trust this guy. He's just simply being too nice. He had those like sketchy nice guy vibes to him. I don't
That's
know.
a fair point. I think I was a little caught up in like, how cool everything was that was going on that I didn't really think anything other of him other than being like a kind of Dumbledore kind of guy. He's just like this nice supportive old guy. So for me that reveal of his true nature was a little bit more of a shock, but I can see how you would be suspicious of somebody like that. He is the definition of that guy who thinks he's a good person but is not at all a good person. He's one of those who's like so delusional that he thinks that what he does, his quote unquote goodness, overwhelms or outdoes whatever negative that he does. And in fact, that is not the case. He's a toxic nice guy.
Although, weirdly enough, maybe in the end, the goodness he did by helping Siona get to the point she got was
That's
actually
true.
the best thing he ever did because she burned that system down.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he thought he could genuinely convince her to just admit that she was going through like a manic phase. Like, no, who do you think you're talking to? Like, like he
Yeah.
genuinely he just wanted a safe face. He was trying to manipulate her. I liked that Renford. He was just in your face about it. He just didn't even hold back how evil he was. I appreciated that. He's up there. He might be in my top 3 characters, even though he's deplorable and everything about him you want to hate. I like his character a lot. I really do. I thought it was, it's common to see that kind of guy in power who, like, they get pleasure from the darkness of it.
Mhm. So this is really funny. I'm looking through my review of this, and it turns out I was in fact subconsciously making the connection to Full Metal Alchemist because I wrote down that Renthorn gives me Major Kimberly vibes.
Yeah. Yeah.
For those who do not know Full Metal Alchemist, that is also another character who is like kind of a psychopath who just
Hmm.
enjoys causing people pain and doing evil things just for the sake of the power of it all. So,
He is probably what the original guy who started the religion was like, to be quite honest. To be able to take that power, to know that when you're creating this giant dome, you're killing potentially thousands of people just in that moment to create that dome originally, and then to convince an entire people that they were given that by God, that takes a level of psychopathy that I feel like only someone like Renford could have come up with. So my little theory is that the creator of this city of Tehran, he was a psychopath. That's my theory.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. That's one of the most evil things that I could think of
Oh
to
yeah.
do is to create a dome that is powered by a blight that didn't even exist until you created the dome.
Yeah. You
Like,
created it and
dude,
have the audacity to say that this was God's gift to you? No.
no, no.
You sir need to die at the edge of a sword. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I don't often. I feel like it's easy for me to get annoyed when it's a book and it's a fictional character, but there is a part of me that's like, people like that need to be stopped before they're allowed to fulfill their ambitions, because these people, their ambitions overwhelm any positive that they could do.
And that was kind of ultimately the way this book went was that like
Yeah.
ultimately this society was just so messed up that like there was no way to fix it. And
Not
Siona
at all.
tried. She tried to come up with a way to, change their society without having to go to violent methods. And in the end,
Mm-hmm.
violent methods were the only thing that was going to do it because that's
Yeah.
just how far gone the society was, which is like sad. Like, I don't like that they
Yeah.
had to, go to violent methods and have a bunch of people die, like, a bunch of innocent
Yeah.
bystanders caught in the crossfire, not just the mages in the building, but like random
Yeah.
civilians just getting killed. Like, I don't like that that had to happen. I would have much preferred if Siona was right and
Yeah.
everything just got solved by like, oh, maybe we can siphon from not humans. And
Right.
but that was never going to happen because a society that's built on such a fundamentally evil concept is just, it's not going to stand. It just, you can't fix something that's fundamentally evil.
Yeah. No, the entire city is founded on just bloodshed, and to let it continue, it wouldn't even be capable of change. Like, that city was beyond the point of saving. And I feel like her aunt and her sister are a really good exploration of why that is the case. Because although they both loved her a lot, despite all her flaws, they loved Siona. But in the end, after Siona basically showed the truth, what they cared about was the destruction that it caused, and they didn't seem to be too worried about the fact that people had been dying for this magic system. Like, that didn't seem to be a concern of theirs at all. And I thought that that was really upsetting in the moment, but I think that that's very realistic to
Mm-hmm.
not only just the way those people are, but the way people are in general, because to change a system like that would mean to give up the things that are most comfortable to you, you know, your safety, your security, and to give that up and to let it go into the unknown, or even like potentially actively dangerous. Even if that is the right thing to do, they're going to fight it. And that is ultimately like what would stop the system from changing in the first place.
Yeah, like I thought that I really liked the way that was handled
Mm-hmm.
with Siona's aunt and cousin, like just the way like that they were
Mm-hmm.
both completely wrong but also had some points. Like the
Right.
fact that like yeah, they're completely missing the fact that this entire city is built on murder, but at the same time, they're right about the fact that Siona was selfish in the way she went about exposing
Mm-hmm.
this. She was selfish in the fact that she didn't think about these two people who have cared for her for so long. And, you know, it's like, I just love that they're allowed to be both things true at the same time.
Yes.
Like, the aunt and the cousin are wrong about accepting this evil magic system, but they're right about Siona being selfish and not thinking about the consequences for other people.
Actively ignoring the consequences for other people because Tomo told her how people would react, and she
Yeah.
said, I'm gonna do it anyway because this is what we need to do. I mean, she's right in a way, but she was also wrong in a way, and there was probably ways that she could have thought it through better and maybe even like built people up to it, but Siona's a little dramatic, so she had to do it in a dramatic way.
Count of Monte Cristo vibes.
Yeah. She's like, well, you know, I've got to prove that I am better than all of them, so I'll prove that with how I break down the system. So there was still like that level of her showing off, even in her last moment. So
Mm-hmm.
I appreciated that she changed, but not completely. So she wasn't fully redeemed, but she was kind of redeemed. She was
Yeah.
partially redeemed.
Yeah, we were talking about this before the podcast, and like as the redemption arc person, like that's my stance is like she was on the path to redemption, but she didn't
Mm-hmm.
get there all the way before she died. Like
Yeah.
it kind of got cut off. I think if she had, you know, survived somehow and kept going on, I think she would have
Mm-hmm.
made it all the way.
I
But
think
I
so.
think, you know, at the point where the story left off, like, yeah, she was still kind of selfish and ambitious and wanting to leave her mark. And there were beginnings of altruistic thoughts in there and caring for other
Yes.
people like Tamil and Kara, but in the end she wasn't quite there yet. She was just beginning to discover empathy, and then goodbye.
Yeah. She got a glimpse of it, and then she was like, you know what? I'm gonna make myself a martyr real fast. But I like that she didn't have the death was redemption trope. I do like that she did not just get redeemed by killing herself. Like, that was not what happened at all.
Yeah. Like
In
it
fact, her
was
death felt a little senseless, but also vindicated. I don't know. I felt like very mixed about it.
No, I felt like it was honestly from the moment I figured out the plot twist, I'm like, yeah, she's not going to survive this book. Not when she figures out that everything she has ever believed in and held dear and dedicated her
Hmm.
whole life to is not only a lie, but actually evil.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, that's not something you come back
Yeah.
from. And I felt like it was fitting that she's just like, no, I'm not coming back from this. So I might as well just bring it down with me.
And we could discuss these themes for so much longer. I think we were even discussing them for like half hour, 45 minutes before we even started recording this. But I'll end with what my favorite scene was. And I'm sure you
Yes.
have a different scene, I think, based on our conversations. It's going to be a surprise to me. I've already told her, but my favorite scene was when she confronts her mentor. And essentially, it's a sequence where he breaks her out of jail. He then takes her to his place, and then she forces him to show his true colors. I loved that whole sequence. It was sort of like she kind of had to come to an understanding of the real person that he was. Like the way that he just without thought killed all of those Quen, and then he had the audacity to be like, "No, I will protect you." He only wanted to protect her because he used her as proof of how good of a magician he was. Like she was a pawn in his narcissism.
Hmm.
And
Pretty
she's
much.
like, I'm not going to let you use me like that. And I liked that. That was
Yes.
satisfying.
Yes. No, that was a good scene. So much of this book is good. There are so many good scenes,
There are very
but
many good
I
scenes.
guess I have to pick the one that like almost made me cry. Like by
Mm.
far, which you would be surprised which one it is unless you think about the fact that I love redemption, and then you'll be
Mm.
like, okay, that makes sense. It was when the whole confrontation after Sayona blew up the building and everything's going crazy, and Tommel and Kara are trying to escape, and then they get confronted by Renthorn and the
Mm.
younger Mordra, and they have that whole confrontation, and in the end it ends up where like Tommel has the chance to kill the younger Mordra. Like Renthorn's gone, they can escape. You know, Tommel can just kill this guy, and he chooses not to. He decides that
Yeah.
because Siona proved to him that maybe it does matter that people have the capacity to change and do better. And so he's like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he is going to do better, but I want to give him that chance because, you know, Siona inspired me to like believe and to hope like just this
Yeah.
once. And so he doesn't kill him, and that just like choked me up so much because it was,
Yeah.
I felt like that was almost like the best fulfillment of Siona's character arc in a way, turning into the fulfillment of Tamil's character arc, that like she, because of her ability to change, it also helped him to change too and to grow
Mm-hmm.
and to find hope again when he's just been in this hopeless angry situation for so
Oh,
long.
yeah.
And it was, I don't know, it just got me choked up. I loved that, just seeing his growth and seeing him choose hope,
Mm-hmm.
and then like go off with Kara, and then it's like, you know, this might be bad. They're going off into the wilderness. They're going off somewhere that
Yeah.
they might
Into the
die,
unknown.
but
Yeah.
they might live, and that's the important part.
They went off back to where they're from with the hope that they might live while leaving him, Mordra, the third or whatever, to have hope that he will learn from everything and choose not to let that repeat. So I really thought the ending was very hopeful. It made me very inspired actually. I kind
Mhm.
of rushed through the ending. I was so like I need to know like what's going to happen.
Yeah, it was the perfect like ending to what otherwise would have been kind of depressing. Like it
Yes.
would have just
Yeah.
gone out with like a big explosion, everybody died, the end. But no, it had that extra note of hope, like this was not for nothing. And that just that was what absolutely cemented this as a 5-star book for me.
The themes were just phenomenal in this book. I mean, we could literally talk about them forever. There's so much to explore there, and the way that the different scenes explore those themes, and there are definitely lots of other scenes that were really, really cool or really, really impactful, and I wish we could talk about them all, but we're already almost at this point. I don't know. After trimming and everything, we're probably 45 minutes in.
It's fine. I think it's time to wrap up the conversation because yeah, otherwise we'll go all night. But
Yeah, we would actually.
but yes, this is just it's such a good book, and if you've stuck
It
with
is.
us all the way to the end, you've probably read it and hopefully you agree. Or if you were kind of, borderline on it, hopefully we convinced you that it's totally worth all the time you spent reading it.
Yes. And hopefully you didn't get a 1-star situation, but I can understand that Siona might be a little too annoying for some people to handle or be interested in sitting through for an entire book.
I know she is not everyone's cup of tea, so.
Yes. But if you can overcome just a little annoyance with the main character, it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it. And I still ended up with a 5-star even though she mildly annoyed me, so. I think it's okay to not like the main character, personally. But then again, I read Game of Thrones, and there's plenty of unlikable main characters.
Yes. See, I just need to have something likable about the main character. Like, if they're just 100% nothing relatable, nothing likable, I'm out. But if they even just got the littlest spark of something, I could be like, there's potential in there. You could be better. Then I'm invested.
You guys, if you've stuck it through this far, give us a like, give us a follow if you haven't, and put all the thoughts down below. We'll be glad to talk about any thoughts.
Yes, absolutely. So thanks so much for joining us for this long rambling review, and we will see you next time.
Bye.